Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Paradigm Paradox. Starting our new route, we're starting Ibuki's route, so we're gonna start skipping. Um, yeah, well, hopefully, I mean, it's weird because, like, his route only unlocks after your third playthrough, which we've done, like, 6 now. But I don't remember getting a, no. I don't remember getting a, like, prompt. Like, you get the prompt for his. I don't remember getting the prompt for his route after clearing Yukonami's route, but that's where we would have gotten it because we did first 2 boys, then we did. You know what I mean? So anyway, go to the rooftop. But I would assume because we've done 6 routes that we should be open. Yeah, this was a long shot. There's someone, but they're not in uniform. Do they even go here? Hello. Is he talking to me? Hello? The breeze feels nice here, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Maybe I should just go ahead and ask what he's doing up here. I should call security if he seems suspicious, right? No. He's beautiful, so we kiss him. Why I would die if I got isekai'd into an Otome game, because I'd be like, he hot, I must just kiss. I get stabbed so fast. Because it's always the stabby ones. I'm not saying Ibuki would hurt us, but I'm just saying, I don't think we should trust him right now. I like to watch people from up here. Watch people? He spilled the beans before I even asked. What's his deal? Is he actually dangerous? What should I do? Kiss him. I'll come see you again. What? He's gone. What a weird guy. Maybe I should tell security just in case. In the end, I couldn't find the girls. I don't talk. Oh, Tokio, I love you so much. But I also love Ibuki, so fair enough. We're 2 back-to-back good routes. They're my favorites. Although I absolutely do love Mocha. She's adorable. It's not the same. Mihaya's not one of my favorite. I mean, I didn't mind I liked his route, don't get me wrong, but the girls aren't here, but someone else is. The sun shone in my eyes, so it was hard to see at first, but I could make out a figure standing with their back against the railing. Hello? Hello? He's not a student here, is he? He's not wearing a uniform. Isn't this the guy I saw the other day? Hey, what's one thing we claim we all need, but in actuality, we don't need it all? Any guesses? What? Is that a riddle or something? Riddle. Right. Sure. I've been mulling over the answer forever. This conversation feels weirdly disjointed. Hit me up if you figure it out, all right? He walked right past me and left the rooftop, clearly done with our conversation. Hit me up? Seems pretty certain we'll meet again. What an odd guy. Which intrigues me and makes me love him a little bit more. He's a little cuckoo bananas. We like the cuckoo bananas. Oh, we're getting down to it, guys. And I said in Tokio's route that I was going to be like, it's been like a week, I don't know what's happening. It's only been like 4 days. Just FYI. Because, outer wall. These we've all done before. Because 9rip will go up in a couple of days. I recorded the entire first fucking route in 3 days because I was hooked. I'm just telling you, look forward to it. You know, if you're watching this not when it goes up, then it's already posted and whatever. But, like, if you're watching this the day it goes up, in a couple of days, 9rip goes up after that. Hooked. 100%. I can't stop thinking. And I love this game, don't get me wrong. Like, I am having fun with this game, but I was like, man, I just... I was almost disappointed I couldn't record our next round in 9rip yet, and I was like, that's really sad because I really do enjoy this game. So, like, this answer is I don't know. I wonder if Rio's routes may be vectors, or if there is like a finale route or whatever. So like a little wrap. So maybe, huh? I'm assuming we speak to Moravia. Yeah. Okay. And then yeah, villainous justice. And then this one is yeah. Okay, we're worried about her. That was yeah what we did the last time. Okay. There's no point in like I'm just kind of scrolling up in the guide a little bit like because this we've already done 16 times over. So now this one. Okay, that's attempted ambush. So either Rio's going to be the opposite one we like vectors or the this one where we run away or whatnot. The other ones we haven't chosen or that's going to be something else. Huh. Let's see. I can't save Lizzie. Interesting. Outer Wall, maybe? Oh, yeah, because Town was Yukonami, everywhere was Hyuga, so Outer Wall should be Moravia, right? Yeah, okay. Best to start where we last met. With that thought, I went to the Outer Wall, where I encountered Moravia yesterday. But she wasn't the easiest person to find. I should have asked how to contact her, just in case. Walking all by your lonesome. Oh, look, our first Ibuki CG! I think. I don't think we got one with him in, like, the common route or anything. I turned around hopefully, but I didn't find Moravia. Instead, a young man was standing there. He had an air of mystery about him, like he was slightly out of place. Okay. Tim, Ronald, corner. Like he was slightly out of place. I'm assuming they were like he was out of place, and then slightly out of place, and then, like, slightly out of place. A strange feeling of deja vu came over me. Have we met before? Twice on the Roof Girl, 2 days in a row, Jesus. Maybe, maybe not. But we haven't been formally introduced. I'm Ibuki. Pleased to meet you. This Ibuki didn't give off the most trustworthy vibes. I immediately felt suspicious of him. Really? But he's so beautiful. Again, why I'd get stabbed in one of these games. I'd be like, he's hot. I don't give a... You'd be like, he's probably going to stab me, but whatever. It's worth it. At least when I get stabbed, I'd be like, yeah, I kind of figured, but not a big deal. Yeah, nice to meet you too. I'm kind of in a hurry, so I gotta get going. Wait, are you looking for Moravia? How did you... Got it right, did I? I can help you find her. And just wait right here. Don't worry, she'll be along soon. The young man apparently didn't notice my bewilderment or suspicion and quickly turned and left. What a strange guy. He can't be seriously looking for her, can he? Do they even know each other? And then the CG changes and now we're back, but it's Moravia. I think it's interesting that in some... Again, I don't remember, but I don't know if we got... I'd have to go back. My brain's like, I don't remember getting CGs with Sena and Mocha, but we got CGs with Haruka and Kaori, and now with Moravia. But at least in this one, we've got both versions. You've got the Ibuki version and the Moravia version, so... I stayed put despite my doubts and was soon proven wrong, much to my surprise. Sorry to keep you waiting. No way. It's actually you? I was dumbfounded that guy really knew Moravia and that she actually came. What's that supposed to mean? Of course it's me. Moravia laughed and gave a little twirl as if to prove it was truly her. She's as inscrutable as always. I refocused and asked her about Ibuki. Did Ibuki ask you to come here? You could say that. But isn't it more like you asked? And does this mean you're ready to come with me? She cut right to the chase, and my heart jumped to my throat. I have to make up my mind. I took a deep breath and faced Moravia. I want to save Lizzie, and if going with you will help me do that, then lead the way. Moravia smiled at me and nodded. Then let's go save your friend. My voice is a little busted. In case you can't tell. Been doing a lot of recording, so, like, I can tell, like, as I'm trying to do it, I'm like, Ibuki's voice is not coming out right, so. Moravia brought me to a part of the research district that people went to for all sorts of examinations. Oh, now we straight up, this is not we waiting outside and Rio brings her. We busting in and busting her out ourselves. Okay. It had been prepared. I'd been prepared to fight some of the researchers, but as it turns out, Moravia's power made it incredibly easy to infiltrate the research district. She deactivated the security system and can avoid everyone because she's able to sense them. Maybe she's broken in here before. Do you think... Well, she disabled the security system. Well, okay, she's able to avoid them. My initial thought was, like, if she's able to, like, somehow, like, distract them somehow, whatever. I was like, do you think she helped when we broke Kamui out? You know what I mean? Because, like, we know that the commander did something. But we also know, we're pretty sus that the commander is still in touch with the professor right now. You know what I mean? So, like, does he know about Rio's involvement there? Like, Rio's the go-between, and the commander's like, I have no contact with them whatsoever, except for I randomly emailed my friend Bob, my friend Yashima, who happens to be the professor, and, like, nobody is any the wiser, but, like, he kind of stays out of it aside from that. But, like, well, we know he did something when we helped break Kamui out. It was kind of obvious. But then you're like, did he, like, we need to break Kamui out, so if you could do the thing, and then, like, got Moravia out? Because that would actually be kind of interesting, you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway. Hey, are you sure this is the right way? Don't worry, I can sense where they are. What does that exactly mean? I imagine there are people around, but how can you tell where Lizzie and the other injured people are? Well, that's... look, here it is. I went into the room Moravia indicated. What I saw was a far cry from a hospital. They're not being treated. They're being restrained. You asked about how I knew where they were. They're similar to vectors, so I can sense them specifically. Vectors? But Lizzie is human. For now, yes. But anyone attacked by a vector will turn into one. Didn't you know that? I was so shocked by what Moravia said that I needed several moments to process. What? No, I didn't know. I don't believe it. But what if she's right? It would explain why Mr. Kuromori wouldn't let me visit Lizzie. Well, aren't you going to look for your friend? Time is ticking, you know. Right. I slid past a number of injured people looking for Lizzie. After a bit of searching, I found her. Lizzie, are you okay? She didn't look asleep. It was more like she was frozen in time. I shook her, but she wouldn't stir. Moravia quietly stopped me. You don't have to worry. She's only asleep because of the medicine. And now I need to inject this into her. What is it? And this will stop her from turning into a vector. There. She should be fine now. I peered at the syringe Moravia had and then looked at the people around me. I couldn't help but wonder, do you have any more of that stuff? What about the other people here? I've only got the one. Moravia didn't address my second question, but I had a feeling I already knew the answer. We can't save everyone. We better get going. Someone could come at any minute. We have to get you someplace you can rest. I'm not even sure a place like that exists. The moment I trusted Moravia, I knew things would never be the same again. I've just witnessed the darkness lurking beneath Theta. I had no clue where to go. I highly doubted I could return to my old life. You don't have to worry. When I asked you to come with me, I didn't mean just this one time. She must have seen the worry in my eyes and was trying to comfort me. But my unease still held on to me with an iron grip. But I have no other choice. I knew that from the moment I accepted Moravia's help. All right, let's get out of here. My own decisions, Lizzie's safety, the fact that I'm going with the enemy, it's a lot to consider. But I can't stay stuck in the same place. Little by little, I began to relax. There's no turning back. I've made my choice, and I have to keep moving forward. Moravia and I kept a low profile as we headed out of the colony with Lizzie. This way, quickly. Moravia showed no signs of fatigue, even though she was carrying Lizzie. In fact, I'm the one who got winded first. I need to transform or I'll fall behind. I have to pull myself together. For Lizzie. I forced myself to keep running, and before long, Theta was far behind us. We had Moravia's directions to thank for getting us out of there without being spotted. I have a feeling we're going to end up in our skippy point soon, so I just turned it on. But then Moravia came to a halt, placed Lizzie on the ground, and looked at me. We should be safe out here. Okay, thanks. I breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed we had escaped by the skin of our teeth. Why is that a phrase? I mean, you say that, oh, by the skin of your teeth. There's no skin on your teeth, and thinking about skin on your teeth is like objectively horrifying. Like, that's something out of nightmares. Like, think about that. Why in the world did anyone in their right mind? Now, this is an old phrase, it's nothing new, but like, why in the world? It dawns on you when you hear it, you're like, no, there's something so disturbing about that. Like, the skin of your teeth? I mean, you have skin all over your body, but just imagine if your teeth suddenly had skin. Ugh, why do I want to vomit? Why is that so horrifying and disgusting? No! No, it's so disturbing. Who came up with that phrase and why? They should be punished. Oh, there's a special place in hell for them. That's where they are now, because that phrase is so fucking old, but it's so disgusting. Ugh. You don't normally think about it, because it's not something you hear every day anymore, but like, it's not like you haven't heard it. Well, you may be, but like, oh, now you're welcome. Now no one's ever, now if you never thought about that before, now when anyone says, oh, by the skin of my teeth, you're going to be like, ew. And you're going to internally cringe, if not almost vomit, because it's just your picture. Ah. It shouldn't be as disgusting as it is, but it is. You're welcome. I'm not sorry. If I have to feel disgusted about it, you do too. But then I was flooded with all the new worries. What would happen to Lizzie, and what would happen from here on out? Brushing your teeth's going to be really weird from now on with skin on them. Gross. I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable. It's kind of funny and horrifying at the same time, anyway. Hey, where are we going? Our home, where we live. You actually live somewhere? It felt like an innocent question, but I immediately regretted asking. We're an asshole. You live somewhere? Doesn't everyone? We're a dumbass. Of course they live somewhere. They're living things. What a silly question. Luckily, Moravia didn't seem to mind. She just smiled at me. Our living arrangements and our lives are much like any other humans. I see, of course. I'm sorry. But Moravia had such an ethereal air, it was hard to believe her life was mundane. Eating, sleeping, Moravia doing normal life things, like a regular person? Despite the circumstances, I was immensely curious. I want to know more about her. I felt silly, but I had to admit my anxiety overrode my intense curiosity. At any rate, there was no going back, and I had nowhere else to turn. Only one path remained open to me. I have to go with Moravia, and yet... I glanced at Lizzie on the ground. How can we carry Lizzie there? With how sporadic the attacks have been until now, Moravia's home must be far away. I don't think I can carry Lizzie that kind of distance, even if I use my powers. But I can't just stand here. Is something bothering you? It seems like we have a long way to go. I'm wondering how we'll carry Lizzie. Oh, that's what you're worried about. It won't be a problem. Huh? What do you mean? We should run into someone along the way. Come on. Moravia picked Lizzie up in her arms once again. That's when I noticed something. Is Lizzie's body floating a bit? Oh, I get it. She's using psychokinesis to lessen the weight. So that means she's not expending much energy carrying Lizzie. Since I also have psychokinesis powers, I can theoretically do the same, but I don't know if I can hold it as steady as Moravia. I have to stop making excuses. I need to do my part. I started walking behind Moravia. Oh, we traveled in silence until we were quite far from Theta. I always thought Theta was huge, but the outside world sprawled on forever. Home suddenly seems so tiny. I've never been this far out before. I have no idea where we are. No wonder I feel anxious. I looked at Moravia, who was still carrying Lizzie effortlessly. That made me feel reassured and slightly braver. But even if Moravia seems fine, I can't let her do all the work. I'm the one who wants to save Lizzie, so I have to step up. Moravia, let's switch. I'll carry Lizzie. Moravia looked at me blankly. You don't need to. No, Lizzie's my friend. I want to be the one to carry her. Really? All right, then. Thanks. I've been studying Moravia's psychokinesis as we walked. If I do it exactly how she did, I can use psychokinesis to carry Lizzie in my arms for a while. Here, don't drop her. I took Lizzie from Moravia's arms. There we go. I emulated the way Moravia used her powers and carefully lifted Lizzie into my arms. I did it! Well, this really does take the strain off your arms. Now, let's go. Okay. I set off again with a big step forward, but after a while my walking speed began to slow down. It's hard to use psychokinesis and walk at the same time. Lizzie might get hurt if I put too much into it, but she'd fall if I didn't use enough. It was a tough balancing act. Moravia seemed to notice I was having trouble and turned to me. I can take her back if need be. It's fine. I'm all right. But you're slowing down. You're not used to expending your power, are you? There's no need to rush, but neither should we dawdle. The slower we go, the worse off she'll be. I looked at Lizzie lying in my arms. She was pale, eyes tightly shut, and she wasn't moving at all. I realized all over again that there was something terribly wrong with her. You're right. I'm sorry. Can we switch again? Of course. Hand her over. I passed Lizzie back to Moravia, and we quickly made progress to our destination. We spent half the day traveling, taking breaks here and there as necessary. Sometimes I carried Lizzie, but when I did, our progress slowed. Eventually, I'd give her back to Moravia. In the end, Moravia did most of the actual heavy lifting. I also suspected that Moravia was matching my pace, and I was slowing her down. She carried Lizzie with no issue, but even just walking such a great distance was enough to wear me right out. It's just like when we left the lab. I don't possess much physical strength. I feel so pathetic. I was seriously starting to consider taking up lifting when... I don't know who's saying. It's either Yukonami or Hyuga. Moravia! Both of them. Okay. I looked in the direction of the voice and saw two figures approaching. That's Yukonami and Hyuga. I stiffened up on reflex. It's all right. I won't let them hurt you. Moravia leaned in and murmured in my ear. Right. I trust Moravia. That's why I'm here. I have to believe in her or all's lost. I took a deep breath and relaxed. What's all this? You been to Theta? Yes, just for a bit. They were also there. No fair! You should have told us beforehand. It's weird because if you go look for Moravia anywhere else, you run into Hyuga and Yukonami as if they came with her. But this time, because you found her first, they weren't there? A little odd, but whatever. Yukonami looked at Lizzie, cradled in Moravia's arms. He then looked at me. Huh. Are you one of the Blooms? What are you doing with Moravia? And who's that you're carrying, Moravia? I'll fill you in later. Right now, this girl needs rest. And for some reason, Moravia held Lizzie out towards Hyuga. What? Can you carry the girl for a while? We're both tired. Moravia looked at me as if to say, right? I nodded in response. Moravia didn't seem too tired to me, but I wasn't about to say so. Should I trust Hyuga to carry Lizzie? I only knew him as a ferocious foe, so I couldn't help having doubts. Fine, hand her over then. Hyuga ignored my obvious concern and carefully took Lizzie's body, his face full of irritation. He's surprisingly obedient. I did notice he always does what Moravia tells him during battle. Hyuga sensed me staring at him and locked eyes with me. What are you looking at? Nothing. No need to stare. Moravia said to carry her, so I'm carrying her. Right. Please take good care of Lizzie, then. Hyuga silently turned his back on me. I had no idea if he was even listening. Just a little farther. Let's go. Okay. Hyuga had followed Moravia's instructions, and even Yukonami hadn't pushed when she said she'd fill them in later. It seemed the two of them would do anything for Moravia, no questions asked. She's the bitch in charge, even if she's really a boy in a girl body right now, but whatever. We walked a little farther until we reached an old colony. It looked like it was in complete disrepair. Half-collapsed, ruined buildings were everywhere. Welcome to our colony, Tau. My breath stopped short as I looked around. I couldn't imagine what kind of place they lived in, but this... surviving in an abandoned colony. But when I thought about it, reutilizing an old colony made sense. no one else was living there, why not? And when I looked closer, I could tell that some of the buildings were fine. In fact, they seemed entirely livable. They were damaged, but had clearly been repaired. This must have been what Moravia meant when she said they'd lived like any other humans. It's a wreck compared to Theta, but we might actually be able to live here. There were still key differences between Theta and Tau. I probably should have expected it, but there are vectors everywhere I look. It's got me on edge. What are you staring at? I've never seen a colony outside Theta. It's all so new to me. I can't help myself. You can look around as much as you like later. First, this girl needs rest. Moravia was holding Lizzie again. She must have retrieved her from Hugo while I was distracted. This way. Moravia led us to one of the buildings that was still standing and noticeably less damaged than its surroundings. The interior was surprisingly homey. Despite the crumbling exterior, it was very comfortable. Moravia carried Lizzie to one of the many rooms and put her on a bed. Thank you so much for bringing Lizzie all the way here. It's fine. Lizzie can finally get some rest. I was relieved but nervous. Lizzie never opened her eyes during the journey. She was clearly in bad shape. Will Lizzie be all right? She won't turn into a vector, will she? I gave her the antibodies so she won't turn into a mindless vector. However, she might not necessarily keep her humanity as you know it. But that's better than losing her mind like the vectors you're thinking of, right? Yeah. I couldn't think about Lizzie not being Lizzie anymore. It made my heart hurt. But Moravia's right. Even if Lizzie ceased to be human, some semblance of herself would remain. I had to be grateful for that. She's sedated for now, but she'll wake up before too long. What's that antibody shot you gave her anyway? Is it like medicine? It is. For some reason, Moravia stared at me with such intensity, started to feel extremely awkward. Is there... I was about to ask Moravia if there was an issue when she suddenly interrupted. As I suspected, you have the aptitude. Aptitude? For what? I'll explain in due course. Then Moravia fell silent as if to indicate she had no more to tell me. She headed to the door and beckoned. Come, I'll show you around. I gave up on asking any more questions for now and followed Moravia out of the room. As Moravia toured me around the building, I realized it was even more cozy and livable than I'd first imagined. I was relieved to learn that the bathrooms and kitchens were still able to access the colony's clean water. Amenities are provided too, and Moravia informed me that I could take anything I needed. I wondered how they came by everything, but I suppose they had their ways. They'd been invading us, after all. This isn't bad at all. We should be able to live here comfortably. Suddenly I heard a strange, unidentifiable sound, but when I looked down to find the source, my hand flew to my belly. There was no hiding it. My stomach was growling. Jeez, it's churning like a drain pipe! I stood blushing, and Moravia grinned at me. There's her Muppet face. Are you hungry? It's probably because I'm relaxed now. Well, good. It's perfect timing. Let's go. Oh, okay. I obediently followed Moravia. She led me outside, where night had already overtaken the colony. Mind your step. Okay, thanks. Shall I hold your arm? I wouldn't want you to trip and fall. Thanks, but I'm okay. I'm not a kid. As I trip and fall. You look like one to me. To be fair, I'm over 100 years old. Okay, that's news. What? No way. She looks so young. But it did make sense then why she had such an ethereal aura. I mean... I wouldn't be surprised if she was joking, but I also wouldn't be surprised about this either. And that was a lie, by the way. Okay, so, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if she's fucking with it, but, and honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was the truth either. The weirder shit's happened in this game than, holy fuck. Wait, really? You're joking? I completely fell for it. Just a little one. I don't see the humor in that. Sorry, I didn't think you'd take me seriously. I felt annoyed. Not only did she regard me like a child, but she teased me like one. It's because you're weirdly persuasive. Oh, your innocence is so cute. I knew Moravia didn't mean any harm, but her words didn't feel like a compliment. Maybe I'm too naive. Should try to think things through more. I wasn't expecting to hear a joke, to be honest. Especially not from you. Your sense of humor is a bit odd. I mean, they do that like, oh, you're so innocent and naive and cute. Yeah, I mean, sort of, but also, like, she's not an idiot. Like, sometimes when they have characters who are, like, innocent and naive, it's like, oh, the sky is blue. Wow. Oh, I tripped and fell over my own shadow. And they're complete fucking morons and too stupid to live. You know what I mean? She's a smart girl. It's just the naive gullibleness, like the innocent thing is because like you're just completely sheltered in the like, I just go to school and I know nothing about the world that I live in. But to be fair, you know what I mean? Like they're hiding it from her. So like, it's not really her fault that she's like when she's in this situation right now, that she'd kind of believe things that Moravia said. She has no clue and she seems like innocent and naive compared to everybody else because she doesn't know what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? But like, when you're with the Blooms, Sena and Mocha also don't know what's really going on much more than she does. They know a little bit more just because they've been around a little bit longer, but they didn't know vectors were humans either. You know what I mean? And like, I think the only reason Ayamu and Tokyo knew was because they grew up in the fucking lab. You know, and they were experiments as well. So, you know, but I don't think they still knew as much about it as our vector buddies over here do, because Moravia and Yukonami were literal fucking lab rats, dealt with it so probably much worse than Ayamu and Tokyo, right? And then Hyuga is just a different perspective, like, saw the monsters turn into one and kind of learned, like we're gonna learn, that he's just known about it longer, and he was a researcher, so he kind of, you know, knew a little bit more on that front. But, like, so yeah, it's like when you know all the facts about something and somebody comes in, what? What do you mean? And then you're like, oh, you're so naive. But it's like, it's not a bad thing in her case. You know what I mean? I think, yeah. So, I mean, like, because there are times where they have, like, the naive characters that don't know anything, and they just, you're like, it's because you like, walk with your eyes closed. I bumped into the wall. Open your eyes, dumbass. Oh, right. And they're literally too stupid to function, and you're like, how do you remember to breathe? Seriously, you should have died from lack of oxygen because somebody has to tell you to breathe because you're that fucking stupid. In this case, it's like, she's not stupid. The naive and the innocence and everything is because you've been purposely forced into this sheltered bubble by the colony that you live in, forced not to know this. So, like, yes, some of the other characters, like Moravia and Hyuga and Yukonami, Yukonami is a totally different case because he's mentally a child. But, like, the rest of them being like, oh, like Moravia and Hyuga, and probably Rio as well, being like, oh, yeah, you're so naive. It's like, yeah, but think about it. The situation you're in and the one that she was in, totally different. Of course she'd be naive. So it's totally understandable and acceptable to me. You know what I mean? Like, that she has this innocence because it was kind of forced on her. She didn't have a choice. You know? It's not like she's willfully ignorant, you know? Anyway. Is it? I wasn't aware. Right. I just kind of had to interject that because they kind of bring it up. I noticed that, like, oh, you're so adorable and she's like, God, I'm so naive. And it's like, yeah, but it's not really your fault. But at least she recognizes it. You know, she's like, damn. It's like I've been stuck in a bubble. And like, because she knows that all this new information's coming at her. And then, damn it, I didn't know any of this. And it's like, instead of being like, oh, well, you know, like some chuckle fucks we have to deal with. Listen. Sometimes the main characters, because they want to make them, like, adorable and cute and innocent and sweet. You know, and sometimes they do it and you're like, it's done in a bad way where they make her irritating. And, like, you kind of want to light her on fire. And, like, for some reason, this one, she doesn't bother me because she's got enough sass. She's smart enough. She's able to put things together. And, like, yes, she does have an innocence and she's a little naive. But, again, from the situation she's been in, understandable, you know? Because now they give her this information and she's like, got it, gonna roll with it. Okay, holy shit. And so. We continued to walk as we spoke, and I began to make out the glow of a bonfire ahead. I see people by the fire. It's Hyuga and Yukonami. A breeze wafted a delicious smell toward us as we approached the pair. What's that? Moravia walked toward the scent and was greeted by Hyuga and Yukonami. We just got here. I'm starving. You're here to have a bite too? What? Yeah, I guess. I realized Moravia had brought me here to eat since I'd admitted I was hungry. But why cook outside when there are working kitchens indoors? I get the feeling it's not just because they felt like having a cookout. So what's the reason? I turned to Moravia beside me, hoping to get an answer, and also thank her for bringing me along. Huh? I did a double take. Moravia was no longer standing beside me. In her place was a young man. I was, interesting. It's kind of funny when we ran into Ibuki at first, when we were looking for Moravia, I thought he was going to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm right here, and just instantly transform. And then he's like, let me go get her. And then she comes back, and I'm like, okay, so we're going to have this, Ibuki hides that he's Moravia for a little while thing. Now he's like, nope, whatevs. Thought I'd ease you into it. But it's pretty much like there's no way to hide this now. Where'd Moravia go? Oh, she ran off and no. You know what I mean? You can't hide this now. I guess now there's no point in hiding it from us anymore. But okay. Huh? Where'd Moravia go? And why did this guy pop up? I never even saw him approach. I hadn't heard his footsteps or even sensed his presence. It's like he'd been there all along. I couldn't hide my shock. Please, take a seat. He invited me to sit and eat, seemingly oblivious to the fact that I was short-circuiting, which in turn made me even more confused. But... What? You eat standing up? Oh, well, if that's what you want to do, go for it. Whoa! You don't sit while you eat? Wild! I'll give it a try, too. Knock it off, eat your food. Oh, boo! Boo yourself. Weird. Everyone's so relaxed now. I felt my anxiety melt away as I watched them. I was still exhausted, but I felt much better. I turned to the guy next to me and again realized that he looked familiar. Aren't you Ibuki? You remembered. We'd spoken a little back in Theta, but I couldn't imagine why he was here. Questions swirled around in my head. How did you get here? Why are you here? Where'd Moravia go? Are you related because you both have heterochromia and pink hair? Ibuki, however, sat down on the floor and beckoned me to join him. I'd missed my chance to ask him anything. It looked like he planned on eating with us, though. I sat down on the floor next to him, leaving a safe distance between us. I'll worry about it later. It's just one more confusing thing in a day that's been full of confusing things. For now, I'll focus on eating. I'll ask questions when I'm able to focus. But the prospect of food reminded me of something. By the way, where did Moravia go? The response that followed didn't make a lick of sense. It'll be me from now on. Okay. Right now, his little face is so adorable. He's got, he is these are, the sauceriest that his eyes get. But you know what I mean? This is his, adorable, innocent face. Because usually he has kind of more sultry eyes. But, now he's like... Pink, pink, pink. Giant eyes. You're like, why are you adorable? And, it's just... There's something about the face and just being, it'll just be me from now on. And you're like, what does that mean? He's like, figure it out. Put the pieces together. What was that supposed to mean? Is it some kind of riddle? Ibuki acted odd the last time we met, too. He seemed to like riddles. Once again, I was reminded how strange he was. What's with everyone teasing me with riddles and jokes? First Moravia, now Ibuki. Come to think of it, the two talked and acted the same way. They had a lot of similarities. Is there some connection between them? Maybe they're siblings. There's definitely something strange about them, but I don't feel like they're related exactly. Hey, you. Yes? You gonna eat? I'm not holding this forever. Hyuga stood glaring expectantly at me, a dish of soup in his hands. Phew, got lost in my own thoughts there. But why is Hyuga the one serving? I'd been on the cusp of a revelation, but Hyuga's impatience made me flustered, and the revelation slipped away. Thank you very much. You want bread? There's some in the basket there. Okay, thank you. I took 2 round buns from the basket beside me. The bowl of soup gave off the same rich fragrance I'd noticed earlier. Is this okay to eat? I'm a bit nervous. I peeked sideways at Ibuki and Yukonami, who slurped soup from the same pot. I slowly brought my own bowl to my lips. It's delicious! I was surprised by how good the first sip was. Seemed to be a consomme. A consomme? Is it consomme? Is that what it's saying? Anyway, filled with well-cooked vegetables and meat. The hearty food filled me up in no time and warmed me from the inside out. Soup is really delicious. Who made it? Hyuga. What? Really? Surprised again, I turned to Hyuga, who looked away to avoid my gaze. I thought he was just the one serving it, but he actually cooked it himself. And he told Yukonami to eat earlier, too. Despite his rough exterior, he's quite considerate of his comrades. What's the term for someone who cares for others like that? I read about it once. I know, Mother Hen. You're just like a mom. Okay, I'm sorry. This... What's the term for someone who cares about others? Oh, a mom! You know, there's something so stupid about this, but also funny. Stupid because, like, you know, when you're like, oh, what's the term for the people who, like, take care of their a mom! Like, everybody knows what a fucking mother is. But at the same time, that's why it's stupid. You're like, why did you have to think of that? But it's funny because it's like, the girl never had a mom, so oh, that's so sad. It's sad but funny. She's like, what's that thing that everyone had? Moms, yeah. And they're like, you had to think of that? And you're like, well, I never had one, so I don't know what they're like. I'm like, it's funny but sad. There's so much wrong with that. I don't know if it's a translation issue where, like, when you translate it, it comes out stupid, but, like, in Japanese, it's, like, a little bit more, you're like, oh, okay, it makes more sense, and it doesn't come across as stupid as being, like, that thing with the thing, and they take care of you, and, like, what, moms, yeah, you know what I mean, where you're like, duh? You know what I mean? But... or they purposely wrote it and they're like, let's ever be like that because, you know, she's never had a mom, so she doesn't know what one is. So it's like, they're being like funny but mean at the same time to this poor girl. So I can't be mad about how on one hand you're like, this seems like it should sound really stupid, but it just seems really mean to this poor girl. The writers are like, let's just rub it in her face that she doesn't have a mom and she never knew her parents. Haha, stupid orphan. Like, it's so fucking mean. Oh, it's kind of funny, though. But very mean. The words spilled out automatically. Excuse me. Sorry. I'd only mumbled under my breath, but Hyuga's ears were clearly sharp. He scowled. You're quite funny, but a mom's usually a woman, right? And Hyuga's a guy. I know that. Can we move on? That slipped out. I was just surprised by how good the soup tastes. And it's so funny when men are, like, chef or cooking or doing anything. It's like, oh, my God, you can cook. That's so impressive. And it's like, most of the 5-star celebrity chefs and stuff like that are men. Like, they've got baking. Like, so it's really funny that when a man is like, oh, yeah, no, I cook dinner. It's like, what, you cook? And it's like it's such a weird profession for men to be in. When you go to, like, a 5-star Michelin restaurant or whatever, it's probably a man that's cooking for you. Like, being a chef is, like, a manly job. I mean, I'm not saying there's not women chefs, but you know what I mean? Like, when you watch the cooking shows or whatever, or the celebrity chefs, they're usually men. So, like, a man cooking for his family is odd, though. And it's like, does anybody do the math in their brains at how stupid sometimes it is with the gender stereotyping? Oh, you cook? Okay, what are you, a mom? What are you, a woman? But a celebrity chef is like, oh, he's awesome. He's a chef. How is that different? They're both fucking cooking shit. I just don't understand. Like, I mean, I get Ibuki being like, aren't moms usually women? Like, yes, technically. But, you know, the mom of the group is the one that takes care of you, and that's Hyuga, because he also cleans up after us. So he definitely is the mom of the group. Because there's no woman here to be the mom of the group, so. And the mom of the group can be anybody, okay? Oh. Been a while since anyone praised the food. We usually just wolf it down, right, Hyuga? Shut up. How'd it feel to hear your food's good? You all jazzed up now? Shut your hole and eat your soup. You two are such peas in a pod. Are not, no way. They look like they're having fun. I felt at ease watching everyone bicker and banter. I even let out a little smile. Yeah, I was going to say, this is definitely different, I think. I don't really know what they were like on the battlefield, but it felt like the impressions I had were starting to change. I think we're probably in Ibuki's route, to be fair now. I think it pretty much, like, once we found Moravia, done. When I watched them chat with one another, I could sense the humanity within them. It made me feel a strange sense of kinship, because I don't quite remember, like, both of the times we found Yukonami or Hyuga, we got to the outer wall, that little scene with everyone was a little bit different, and then it was kind of the same, and then it was, like, you know, there was only, like, a few things that might have been, or, I don't remember if we skipped any of that, or if it was, like, it's basically the exact same scene. They're having the exact same conversation, so I'm not sure why it's not skippable, or they didn't make it so it was skippable regardless if it was route you went down, but Moravia's was at least different. You know what I mean? From the point we found her at the outer wall. But anyway. It's strange. I can feel myself softening up toward them. Okay, yeah, we're definitely in Ibuki's route then. Yeah, okay. Feels nice. Yep. Because that was the first choice in Ibuki's route, so. Yeah, feels nice. Did you say something? Huh? Oh, no, nothing. Ibuki's question took me by surprise. I shook my head and sipped at my soup to deflect him. But yeah, it does feel nice. Should probably stay a bit wary, though. I hope we don't have to have the same conversation with Lizzie we've already had twice. I've only known these people as fearsome enemies, but here I am sharing a meal with them. Weird. Yukonami and Hyuga had resumed bickering, but they seemed as close as brothers. Now that I've seen their human side, it's going to be harder to keep my guard up. Man, this soup sure is good. Because, like, in all the other ones, like, in the Blooms one, we kill, like, Lizzie, and we have conversations with them about it, but it's a personal conversation with them. But in Hyuga and Yukonami, and then now this, it's like, Lizzie is alive, so then we have to explain everything to her. But I hope it's like, it's not like, okay, well, wait, let's go over, and it's like, well, now I have to read the thing that I've read 32 times again, because, like, it has at least been 2 routes since we read it, but it's still in my mind, like, we already know all this, we need to explain it to her again. So I hope we kind of just, like, I explained to her everything that happened and about the bloom, and, like, because I think we did that in Hyuga's, we kind of just went, I explained everything, and we didn't have to, like, actually have a conversation about it again. I don't know. Now that I've seen their human side, it's going to be harder to keep my guard up. Man, this soup sure is good. Would you like seconds, Spacey? Ibuki noticed my voracious appetite and pointed to the soup pot. The way he was grinning made me feel awkward, so I looked down at my hands. It wasn't a bad feeling, though. When dinner wrapped up, I turned to Yukonami, the most approachable member of the group. There was something on my mind. Hey, can I ask you something? What? Want to know more about me? Not you specifically. All of you here. Boo. Fine. What do you want to know? Why do you eat outside when there are buildings everywhere? That's an odd thing to wonder about. Ibuki wanted to eat outside, so we're eating outside. That's all. Ibuki wanted to? I looked at Ibuki, who turned to me and smiled. This poor boy spent most of his fucking life in a lab, so I kind of understand if he wants to be outside. There are vectors outside, you see. Yes, there are. I analyzed Ibuki's statement from several angles, but I had no idea what he meant. We're eating outside because vectors are outside. Say what? Does having vectors around make it easier to relax and enjoy a meal? That's when it hit me. Thinking about it objectively, I'm coming at it from my own sense of what normal is. But their normal might be very different. I don't know anything about these people. I looked at Ibuki again and we made eye contact. He had his eyes on me the whole time. Feeling unsettled, I averted my gaze and asked another question. Are the vectors going to eat too? No, they won't. Ibuki then gazed off into the distance where a herd of vectors roamed. A striking look of adoration lit up his eyes when he looked at them. No, they won't be eating, but it's important for them to enjoy the feeling of dining together with us. You really... But I snapped my mouth shut. You really like the vectors, don't you? Probably shouldn't just blurt that out. What's the deal with Ibuki anyway? He's very in tune with the Vectors, but he doesn't seem to regard me as an enemy. Going by what Hyuga and Yukonami said, there's no doubt that Ibuki cared deeply about the Vectors. Once the meal was finished, Hyuga silently began cleaning up, and Yukonami wandered off somewhere. Moravia never came back for dinner. I wondered if she ate somewhere else or skipped eating altogether. I can't wait for her to, figure it out. As I thought about joining the cleanup effort, Hyuga wordlessly handed me a tray with a bowl and a piece of bread on it. Do you want me to... Take it. There's one more mouth to feed. That's right, this is Lizzie's portion. He really is kind. Thank you, Hyuga. Whatever, just get going. I took the tray with a thankful smile and went to return to Lizzie's building, but... Which way did I come from? Wait, is that way... No, maybe over there... It was dark, and I was still scatterbrained, and all of the buildings blended together. What should I do? I don't know the way. Maybe I should ask Hyuga, but he seemed busy, and I didn't feel like it'd be a good idea to interrupt him. But he was surprisingly nice tonight. I should pluck up my courage and just... I'll accompany you. Suddenly, Ibuki was standing next to me. I simply stared and blinked in a surprised stupor. You will? But why? You look kind of stressed out. It occurred to me that you don't know your way around. Am I wrong? No, you're correct. It's very kind of you to notice and offer to assist. Relax. No need to be so formal. I never intended to send you off alone. You're still new here, after all. Really? Well, thank you. It's a big help. Huh. But how does Ibuki even know which building I came from? A sense of doubt briefly fluttered by, but then I remembered it was a small colony. No doubt he'd heard all the details from the others. What's wrong? Come on. Right, I'm coming. I headed back the way I came with Moravia, this time with Ibuki by my side. The colony was very quiet at night. Not a sound broke the silence except our footsteps and the shuffling Vectors. I'm so glad Ibuki offered to guide me. I get the feeling if I asked Hyuga for help, he'd have told me to go it alone. And if I tried to find the way myself, I would have wandered around in the dark until Lizzie's soup got stone cold. There's a step there. Watch yourself. Oh, thanks. I recalled how Moravia was concerned about me tripping on the way out here, too. First Moravia, now Ibuki. They both care about the smallest things. Do I really come off as that clumsy? No, it can't be that. I'm sure they're both just considerate people. It's also just, it's new, it's dark, you don't know where you're going, and they're just warning you so you don't trip, not because you're clumsy, you know. They both seem to be well-liked and respected by Hyuga and Yukonami. I thought back to the empathetic look Ibuki gave the Vectors earlier. You're an ally of the Vectors, aren't you? Ally? Ibuki muttered the word under his breath, thought for a moment, and then spoke. Well, if by ally you mean someone who's akin to myself, then no. The term doesn't really apply to me. See, I'm different from most. Are you human? How are you different? How? But also, we know he's not fully human, so... Are you human could be I can sense things. Because we know that not as her, but as the player, we know he's not fully human, so, you know. Yeah, okay, are you human? Are you human? I probably could have phrased that more delicately, but I didn't want to sugarcoat anything. I just wanted to know. Why do you ask? Because I want to know more about you. Interested in me, are you? Well, I'm pleased and flattered. Not in a weird way, I promise. I'm absolutely interested in you in a weird way. Well, it's not really weird. It could get weird, and I'm okay with that. If you live here, it means you're not human, but you're different from the Vectors too. So then, what exactly are you? Ibuki flashed a loaded grin at me. Well, at the very least, I can admit I'm not a normal human, and neither are you. I'm not? The realization hit me even as I spoke. He's right. With my powers, I can't exactly call myself a normal human. So where's the line that divides normal humans from people like me? If Ibuki's right, then am I not human at all? I felt a shudder pass through me as I considered the implications. But what does Ibuki mean when he claims he's not a normal human either? Does he have superpowers too? In that case, just as I was about to voice my question, Ibuki suddenly stopped walking. Here we are. I looked up and saw that we were indeed back at the building where Lizzie was staying. The familiarity was comforting. Yeah, this is definitely the right place. Thanks for showing me the way. Shall we head in then? Huh? Oh, yeah. I was surprised he wanted to come with me. I'd assumed we'd split up at the front door. Maybe he's going to see me to my room. I cocked my head in curiosity and entered the building at Ibuki's suggestion. Ibuki seemed to know his way around. He moved confidently like he was in his own home. I mean, even if, like he lives here, so this shouldn't be suspicious, to be fair. As I watched him, I suddenly felt suspicious. It shouldn't be. You know what I mean? It's like he knows this place. Well, yeah, because he lives here, so he probably knows it as well as anybody else. So it wouldn't be weird if Yukonami and Hyuga brought you here. Do you live here as well? Yeah. Ibuki nodded nonchalantly, his tone so casual that I forgot to feel shocked. You might have heard from Moravia, but I'll be staying here with my friend Lizzie, so, I know, of course. Make sure you get that soup to Lizzie before it gets cold. Is there anything I can help you with? No, I'm good for now. Thanks. All right. If you need anything, let me know. I'll be in that room over there. Ibuki pointed to one of the doors. Well, see ya. Thank you for all your help, Ibuki. I bowed my head in thanks as the door closed. There was actually more I wanted to ask, but it could wait for another time. For now, I should check on Lizzie. I headed to the room where Lizzie was resting. Lizzie, I'm back! I called out to Lizzie in the faint hope that she'd be awake, but there was no answer. The room was silent. I looked down at Lizzie from her bedside. It was a relief to see her sleeping peacefully without any discomfort. Her condition seems to have stabilized. I hope she wakes up soon. I put the bread and soup on the nightstand and sat down in a nearby chair. Left alone with my thoughts, it finally sank in that Lizzie was truly alive. I was flooded with relief and gratitude. She could have died back there or turned into a mindless vector. It's a miracle neither happened. Well, I mean, it happened 4 times before. But as Moravia said, Lizzie was no longer truly human. That information alone was a big shock. Did I do the right thing? Would Lizzie have wanted me to save her if it meant sacrificing her humanity? Maybe I was just being selfish because I can't bear the thought of losing her. I stewed in my restless thoughts until Lizzie suddenly stirred beside me. Aww. Lizzie! Lizzie's eyes slowly opened. Where am I? My eyes flooded with tears of relief. Lizzie was awake, but she still looked pale and sickly. I didn't think it'd be a good idea to explain everything right at that moment. I wiped away my tears and gave her what I hoped was a reassuring smile. You're in a safe place. Don't worry. Yeah, no, we can't skip it. But it's basically very similar, so. Safe? The word safe seemed to spark a memory for Lizzie. She repeated the word as if assessing its implications. What happened to me? My head, it's so foggy. Wait, I remember something. Something terrifying happened. It's all right, Lizzie. Don't force anything right now. You need to rest. How do you feel? Are you in pain? I don't think so. It's just hard to think straight. I see. Oh, are you hungry? I've got bread and soup. Think you could try eating some? If Moravia was right about Lizzie being asleep this whole time, she wouldn't have eaten all day. Lizzie thought for a moment, then nodded. Yeah, thank you. Turns out I'm pretty hungry, actually. I helped Lizzie sit upright before passing her the bowl of soup. Thanks. Lizzie sipped the soup and then smiled. This is really good. Right? I was surprised too. Lizzie hesitated as my choice of words made her realize I wasn't the one who cooked the soup. She probably had so many questions about what happened and what was going on. Once you've recovered a bit, I'll explain where we are and what happened. For now, you should get some rest. You were badly hurt. All right, I trust you. I'll stay put and rest up. Guess I had you worried, huh? Never mind about that. Just focus on getting better. Want some bread to go with the soup? Yes, please. Could you break it up a bit and feed it to me? I was so relieved to learn that Lizzie was all right that I didn't mind obliging her childlike request. All right, open wide. Ah! Afterwards, Lizzie and I chatted about nothing in particular, but I was giddy with happiness. True, it was my selfishness that saved her, but I would have fallen apart if she died. We kind of did. But our boyfriend stepped in and saved us, so we weren't as alone. I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. Aww. But anyway, that's the perfect place to end. So, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.